Come here, boy. Come here. Come here. Oh yeah, that's my. Oh yeah, that's my Mr. Foxy. Hey, I am so glad to see you, my friend. I just came back from, a friend's instance. But do you want to know something? Nobody in that room could read the room. I don't understand it, man. How? What happens? Why do some people not read the room? It is so weird, isn't it? Oh, hey, good to see you. It's Dr. Detroit here. The doctor is in. So, I got something to tell you, folks. So, I recently just came back from a friend's instance. We were having a grand old time. It was a lot of fun. We just kind of hung out, messed with some pens and things like that. And then one of our other friends came into the world because they were invited, but something happened. They kind of came at the wrong time, and they didn't know they didn't know how to read the room, which is one of the other big issues that are here in VRchat. See, in VRchat, you're going to come into different worlds and different places where there's going to be different situations. Not every instance is going to be a happy one, or for that matter, inviting. So that's why in this very special 20th episode of VRchat101, I'm going to show you all, basically teach you all about how to read the room. Because you know what? It'll save you from embarrassing situations, and maybe it'll get you banned less in some of your favorite friends' instances. In a little segment that I'm going to call How to Read the Room. Roll the intro. Reading the room is one of the most important things to learn about here in VRchat. And the thing is, too, is that learning how to read the room can also save your butt, especially when you're actually in an invited area. I mean, look at this place. This is a very big area. So, let's pretend for a second that this is packed with some of your favorite friends, and you just recently got invited. However, here's the thing. It could be a different situation. Could be that a friend had a bad day, could be that they're sad, could be a bunch of different things. And you come in here just, gallivanting, or in other words, wanting to show whatever, or invite people to come to an impromptu session. Well, there's a few problems with that. When you just barge into an instance, like a friend's instance or a group instance, and think you can take the lead on things, that's never a good thing. Because you know what? Every instance has a group leader. In other words, somebody who actually runs the instance. Like right now, I'm running this instance right now on the Cliff Sky house, because this is my home world. But just because that there is someone like me on here doesn't mean that you can just come in and take control. Alright? So that's what we're going to take a look at today. So, the red board is just off camera right here, but you know what? Let's just stick with tradition. Just like what we did in the other episode. So, over to my red board so we can illustrate this right about now. There we are. Alright, we're in front of my red board here, which we have been using now for almost all the episodes of VRchat101. Of course, Mr. Foxy has been in almost every single one of them himself. And let me grab a pen here. Let's go ahead and do something nice. How about we do a green pen today? Green for guacamole. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about how to read the room. So let's go ahead and make like a little diagram here. So I'm just going to go ahead and create this little thing here. We're going to pretend that this is the friend instance. Okay? And all your friends usually congregate in a world in one of these three places. Either in here, where there is a mirror, or they tend to hang out for some reason right here in the middle of the whole stuff. Or if there's like a little patio or something, how do we draw a patio? Like this. Bring it to here, and then bring this back to here, and then we'll just create like a little deck area. There we go. They'll sometimes go to the patio area. So now let's go ahead and take the white pen and let's bring this in. So here we go. So on most instances, which are just normal chill hangout worlds, you'll find your friends just kind of congregating someplace. Let's go ahead and put them all kind of right here in the middle of the map. So they're all here. They're all talking about their day. They're talking about different things, or maybe somebody has had such a bad day that they're just venting to everybody. So let's pretend this is you. You spawn in and you decide to come over and try to get into there. Well, here's the problem. You try to get in there because you think, hey, I'm going to make a tier list video, or hey, I'm actually going to go to the YTS world and find some videos to react to. So you think, okay, I'll just get a few friends. So you go to that friends instance, and then what happens is very simple. You try to take over from the leader, and everybody's going to get really pissed at you. This is because that you can't just jump into a world and assert yourself right away. Every single world instance has a leader. Somebody who either is the owner of the instance or is somebody who is the co-leader of it. Now, here's the thing that I will tell you. Whenever you drop a portal down, let's go ahead and make a portal right here. So whenever you drop a portal down right here, as I hit puberty for the 34th time, whenever you drop a portal down, you are the leader. In fact, whoever drops the portal down, whether it be to a game world, a chill world, or, even a horror map, they're the leader. They're the ones that are going to be the instance owners. So let's go ahead and put my name underneath here so that way we can see that I'm the instance owner. Now, here's what happens next. Sometimes, when people spawn in, they tend to become the owner or the instance owner because sometimes you don't end up spawning in correctly. So, sometimes you have to tell them, hey, I need to be the leader on this one. But you know what? It's always a good idea to actually let some others take the lead. Okay? We'll get to that in a second. So, when you try to come in here and try to force people to come to your video recording or something like that, they're not going to take too kindly to it. In fact, you will basically have come in at the very wrong time. Because like I said, it could be that one of these people had a very bad day and they're venting, or something completely different. And you know what'll happen to you? It's very simple. If you don't respect these people or anything like that, Watch what happens. You're gone. You get kicked out of the instance, and then you're just kind of left wondering, what? Why? Why? I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, you did, bucko. The thing about reading the room is very, very simple. Learning how to read the room is like this. You need to kind of get the feel and get the flow of the room itself. Because here's the real deal. Just like what I mentioned, you don't know when spawning in. Now you might think to yourself, well, that's why we have Discord, that's why we have Steam, that's why we have all these different things, you know? Because if you don't do this... Yeah, but hold on a second, though. Who checks messages anyway? Who does? That's because some people probably don't even read the messages and just come to the world willy-nilly, not realizing that it's going to be a therapy session or it's going to be a chill session. Nobody wants to play your game. Alright? So, let me erase this really quickly, and I'll give you some pointers on how to read the room. Okay then. So, I have written down 3 different things here that we're basically going to go over to help you understand how to read a room. The first thing, and this is probably one of the most important rules of all, is to get the flow. What does get the flow mean, you may ask? Well, it's actually kind of simple. Hang on a sec, you guys are a little low. Let me bring it up here a little bit. There we go. Oh, criminy. Camera's a little bit messed up. Hey, Elias? Can you readjust the camera really quick, please? Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what we're looking for. Perfect. Thank you, Eli. So, here's the deal with, getting the flow. Getting the flow is basically where you join the server or you join the map in question. And what you end up doing is simple. You listen in and you listen closely to what people are talking about. Because here's why. Everybody has a different energy level. So let's say, for example, you join an instance and everybody's energy level is kind of down here. It's kind of like right here, low to middle. Meanwhile, yours is way up top. Like, you're one of those high energy people because you're just so dang excited. Because you really want to record, you really want to play and stuff like that. But then, here's the problem. Just like what I said, you join the instance, you try to say, hey guys, do you want to play stuff? And nobody wants to play with you. So, it's very important to get the atmosphere, get the flow of this world. Okay? What is going to happen? What are they doing? Are they just chilling out? What the heck are they doing? So make sure that when you spawn in, you find out exactly what's going on. And of course, if anybody, acknowledges you and says hello, just look for their social clues. For example, some people will wave to you, and then sometimes they'll do this. And no, they're not booping their snoofs. What they're doing is that they're basically telling you to be quiet, because somebody in the group is talking. Most likely it's because they had a bad day again, or they're essentially venting, or ranting for that matter. And if you try to talk, they might get angry. I actually know this because one particular time, way back, before I was even doing these types of videos, I actually remember joining a public instance, and somebody joined in and was trying to get everybody to watch a video of some sort, and he got moited. Yeah, he actually got kicked from that instance because you know what? The person who was talking got triggered really badly. So that's one way to help read the room. Next up is talk/join convo. So once you get the flow and once you get to know this, start joining in on the conversation. Because who knows? Maybe the conversation that you are having right now, or the one that you're hearing, you can actually contribute something, or maybe it's something you relate to. It really depends on, what's going on. Now, of course, here's the flip side of the token on that too. The real problem that a lot of people have when they try to join a conversation is that sometimes they try to talk, but nobody reacts. Don't worry about that so much. Because here's the thing. All you have to do is literally just get the flow even more. And then find out where you can jump in. But don't change the subject. Don't change the topic unless other people decide to actually include you into that conversation. In fact, you might come into a friend group and they might say, yeah, you know what, I think we should change the subject to, hey, how are you doing, friend? Then that's when you can go ahead and say, hey, I'm doing this and this and this. But again, if they're ranting, if they're venting or something like that, that's never a good time to say, hey, let's go film a video. Because believe me, the last thing anybody wants to do is film a video with you or anything like that. Now, that doesn't mean that, you're a bad person. It just means that right now is not the right time to film a video. So just put it on the back burner, or this is a perfect opportunity to do a video on your own. Use your imagination. And remember what I said many moons ago? Here, let me move to this side so it's a little easier. Don't y'all remember my quote that I always use? If you don't, future me, insert it right here, please. If it takes too long to come up with an idea, you're overthinking it. Come up with an idea, and if it's taking too long to come up with one, don't film anything. Because nobody likes an overthought video, okay? Now, oh shoot, I am actually behind this, and I can't. Hold on a sec. Oh, shoot. Future me, can you delete these? Thank you. Alright, now I can move. And then, finally, pick the right time. Picking the right time to speak or to, say your mind and things like that, is a little bit on the tricky side. Again, it all depends on how you get the flow and what time you actually join the conversation. Because here's the thing. Sometimes it's never the right time to jump in. Because, it truly depends on who your friends are. There are some that like to be the center of attention, and there's some that are all around you that, want to, say something. Sometimes it's even the quiet ones. Those ones that, don't usually speak, but they just kind of hang out, and now all of a sudden they have found their voice, which in many cases is actually pretty cool, because you finally get to put a voice to an avatar, and sometimes the quiet ones do the most talking. Heck, sometimes you can't get them to shut up. But that's okay. That's okay. As long as they have something interesting to say, and as long as you can find the right time to jump in, then you're going to be fine. So, that's all I'm saying, everybody, is pretty much like this. Read the room, get the flow, you can join the conversation, if there is something that you can actually join on, and pick the right time to spring it on them, okay? However, here's what I can tell you. These are some big-time no-nos when it comes to springing, your idea on some people. When they're talking about a friend who died, maybe an accident at work, maybe a personal issue, fighting depression, or in some cases, talking about self-harm. Any of these topics that you hear is not a good time to say, hey, it's time to do a video. Because again, let me tell you something. Somebody grieving from a funeral or from a death, the last thing they want to do is film a video, okay? The last thing any of these people want to do is film a video. So, Let me say that one more time because I know it sounds like I am being a broken record here, but it's very important to keep this in mind. Read the room, and it will help you. Now, this episode was kind of short. This topic was actually relatively short. So let me think here. What else could we fill it with? Oh, I got it! You know, something that is always really cool is this. Pens. Pens are so much fun to, you know, mess about with and everything like that. And plus, they're a lot of fun to, you know, draw with in different worlds. And not every world has these, but you know what? Pens have really helped out people no matter if they have, you know, ADHD, autism, ADD, or any type of like disease or gift that you can think of. So for this next part of VRchat 101, we're actually going to do a dual episode. I'm going to show you a couple of things that people do with the pens in another little segment that I'm going to call Fun with Pens. Roll the... Wait, we already did the intro. Okay, you know what? How about we roll the intro again really, really quickly? Roll the intro. So let's talk a bit about pens now. Pens are in almost every single hangout world that you can think of. And every time that, you know, there's a pen around, somebody is going to use it. And a lot of times the pens are there for a lot of different reasons, not just for making art. In fact, let me actually show you one of the pens here. Let's go ahead and take this guy. So this is basically one of the pens that you can use. This is more of a pencil. You can see it's fairly nice. It fits right into your hand. Of course, sometimes the modeling gets a little bit messed up, but they're a lot of fun. And pens are so much fun to mess with that you could actually make all kinds of things. Just, you know, you make all kinds of things. Like, you know, you have a nice little face right here. You can see. Or, you know what, that face can also turn to something else too. Because, like, maybe I could do this. And now we have... I think we now have a boat. That's what it is. It's a boat. Because here's the mast, and then here's the sail. There we go. And then, let's go ahead and make it a dual sail. Let's go ahead and make it a dual sail right here. There we go. So now we have ourselves a cool little boat. And, it's actually pretty cool. Or maybe, you know what? Let's fill this little area in. Let's fill this little area in really quickly. Takes a little bit to actually do this, so future me, speed up. There we go. So now we have ourselves kind of a dual lamp, I guess you could say. But the main thing to remember, especially with pens, is that pens do more than just simply, you know, be there for you know, the artist in your bunch. They can also be there for people that, you know, have ADHD or, you know, like to fiddle around with things. Because you know what? As I said, some worlds, well, I talked about this in a previous video, but some worlds don't even have any clickable props or anything to mess with. So it's always good to see some pens. Because you see, here comes the next thing. You can actually use these pens for a lot of different things. In fact, let me go ahead and I'll show you something here. Let's take a different one here. By the way, too, thank you to Geek Dubs for giving me this idea to, like, you know, stick my pens here in the red board. word of warning, I don't actually do this all the time, but you know what? I'm doing it as sort of an homage to Geek Dubs when we actually filmed with him. If you want to go check him out, I'll leave a link in the video description below to where you guys can go see what he does. So one of the things that some people do is that they'll often write in the sky, or sometimes they'll do something like this. They'll just simply go right down here, and then using their turning feature, will just start making these very weird circles. They'll just start spinning around, and then they'll just slowly but surely move their hand upwards like this, just normal, and there we go. And now they've kind of made like their own little, I guess you would say like their own little slinky or something. I don't actually have a name for this, but some people do this and they just kind of do it so they can make their own like little cocoon. However, for me, I go ahead and do this. I'm going to do that, go down here, bring this here, bring that there, and now I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a 3D thing, so right there, right there, right there, and there's the doorknob, and I'm out of this thing. See that? It's pretty neat, isn't it? Let me take a look at this. So we kind of made sort of like a little slinky almost with a little door right there. Because that's the beautiful thing, is that with pens you can actually write anything you want to. Now, what we just did behind me is what a lot of people do. Or sometimes, if we go ahead and clear that, sometimes they try to write stuff. Or in some cases, they try to make like little cartoons. In fact, let's see, what kind of cartoon could we make? Or can we at least attempt to make? In fact, I don't think we're going to use the red board. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it right here in front of you, so we can actually see it together. So let's see, what would be an easy character to do? Oh, I know an idea. Why don't we try and make Tails? Let's go ahead and make the fluffy boy from Sonic the Hedgehog. Alright, he shouldn't be too hard. Alright, so let's see here. We'll start with his head. So I'm going to make a nice little circle like this. There we go. That might be a little too big. And I'm going to go ahead and make his ears. There we go. We got these little like 3 strands, so I'm just going to make that. Then I'm going to start with his body. He's got a nice little rotund body, you know, after all those chili dogs that he's been consuming. I'm going to go ahead and come down here. Now let's make his legs just a little longer. That. We'll go ahead and give him a little bit of meat right there. And then bring this down again. By the way, everybody, I'm no artist, but this is just my interpretation. Now let's go ahead and fill this in a little bit. Let's fill this in just a little bit there. We'll fill in his other leg. Okay, now we'll go up here to his arms. We're going to, let's see, I think I'm going to go ahead and make one go this way. That means this is going to come this way as well. There we go. Also, future me, thank you for putting some nice artistic music in the background here. Also, for those of you that are actually watching this, if you want to join in with me, go ahead and grab a pad and a pencil and just join up where we were. If you haven't already, because I know that your Tails is going to be a lot better than this one. There we go. Okay, that fills it in. Now let's go ahead and do his other arm. This time around, this one's going to go up this way. There we go. It's a very windy day today outside. In fact, I think Mr. Foxy told me that it was supposed to be windy today. better make sure I close those windows before I wrap this up. Here we go. And see, look at this. It's nice and easy. No need to do anything foolish. Nothing too bad. It's just you and your own little world. Because you know what? There was a painter by the name of Bob Ross who always told us that it was our own little world. And in your little world, you can do whatever you want. Alright, now let's go ahead and get some features in here. Let's see. Alright, so I think we're done with the yellow for right now. Let's go ahead and get... well, of course, we're going to need to make his two tails, but we'll get to that in a second. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and make another circle in here. I'm going to take care of his belly right here. Just going to fill this in a little bit. We're using a pen that I like to call Indian Yellow, because Indian Yellow just looks really good. It might look a little bit weird on your end, but this is actually really neat. But this is also too what some people do in the world, is that they actually create caricatures. Alright, now let's come in here, and I'm just going to fill in the rest. I'm just going to fill in the rest here with the white. This will represent his very fluffy belly. Did anybody else besides me want to pet and scratch his belly? Because you know what? He looks like somebody who could use the pets. I actually know some Tails fans who absolutely adore him and just want to snuggle the little guy. Because you know, Tails is a cute fox. He needs the love. He needs the love. But one thing I will say, and I will die on this hill, is that he needs to be less of a geek and more of a little bro. In fact, I think a lot of people would actually agree with me on that. So there we go, making the tails. We're making his belly right there. He also has like these little tufts of fur that like are coming out from there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a little bit right there. Okay, now let's give him a face. Let's give him his face. And I think I need to make his snoot first. So let me grab yellow. And let's see. I think I need to come in right here. There we go. And then let's bring in his eyes. I don't know if that's the way that you would do the eyes, but, you know, like I said, this is pretty cool. There we go. Let's go ahead and fill in his eyes a little bit. Oh! Well, that didn't work. Here, thank you, Mr. Foxy. Suddenly we just had a little issue there. But the good news is that we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. There we go. Alright, here, Mr. Foxy, you can go ahead and hang on to that again. Thank you. Now let's come back in here and let's take care of these eyes. Tails has some very adorable eyes. There we go. Now the other thing too is that the good news is that anytime you have the pens working for you, you also have an eraser, which, you know, Foxy has in his mouth. So, now let's go ahead and grab the blue. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to come back here to the front. And let's make his pupils really quick. So let's see. I'm going to bend down just a little bit so we can see these. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay. Now let's see if we can make his snoot. This perspective is going to be a little tricky. Actually, he's got a white muzzle. He's got a white muzzle. Some more whites coming in. go. Okay. And now, let's do this really quick. Go ahead and get the yellow that's around his eyes really fast. By the way, too, we're using a lot of speedy cam because if we didn't, it'll take me a very long time to get this to be finished. Okay, and now he needs a snoot, which go ahead and just do this, and like bring it down to here, bring it down to there. So this will be his snoot. I need the black. Oh shit. I don't have the black marker. 1 second.
Welcome to the fabulous Welcome to the Cosmic Conundrum.
Bingo. Got it. Alright, so now we'll just go ahead and make a little thing there for his snoot. And now, because we have this, we're now going to be able to put a little smiley face on him. There we go. Now, he does have a little bit more floof than this, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to grab the white again. I'm going to go ahead and make his face fur. It goes like this. There we go. And then again. There we go. We'll keep it like that. I can hear you guys laughing out there, especially the ones that are real artists that are looking at this and going that you can draw better. Let me tell you something. I am not an artist. I'm an entertainer. But this is probably the best I can actually do right now. But now he needs his shoes. That's what he needs. He needs his shoes next. So let's do this. Let's get the yellow pen out of the way. Let's see, I think his shoes go like this. Just right around here. Now, the last thing this guy needs is actually his, well, two things he actually needs. He actually needs a handful of things. Speaking of hands, how's that for a transition? We need to give him his hands, so I need to make a little something right there. Do this again. No speedy cam for this one. And here we go. This is where it's going to be really weird. His hands don't look like that, but you know, what are you going to do? Now here's the next part right here, so you get the same type of hands. There we go. And last but not least, he needs his best features. And that would be okay, there we go. Alright, so not the best version of Tails. I mean, it does look rather... yeah, it does look rather weird, but you know what? It doesn't have to be an exact replica. That's the fun part about, you know, using pens. And in the time that I did to actually do this, you guys probably did your own Tails. So what do you think of this drawing? What do you think you would rate it on a scale of, like, 1 to 6? Tell me about it in the comments section below. But, yeah. We made ourselves our very own Tails. So you see, folks, pens are a lot of fun, and they can be used to do all kinds of cool art and things like that. However, reading the room is very, very, very important. In fact, I will tell you something that's rather interesting. Reading the room is probably one of the most important things that you can do as, a user. And the most important thing, too, is this. The better you read the room, the more your friends will respect you. But also, you'll be able to help out and problem solve a little bit, or in some cases, you might actually be able to become a leader at some point. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one that's going to be leading the charge or whatever. But that's going to do it for this episode of VRchat 101, which was a duel episode. How did you guys like that duel episode? If you guys want to see more of these, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to comment and also subscribe. And also check out the playlist, too, of VRchat 101s, so you can go back and rewatch some of the great VRchat 101s that we've done in the past. And boy, episode 20. Crazy, isn't it? And so, here's to 20 more VRchat 101s. So, I'll see you folks next time. Until then, take care.